Hey, everybody. Happy Friday. Hope you're all doing well. Oh, it's hot. Nothing compared to what you guys are dealing with. Some of you, but it's hot. Let's see here. Who do we have here? Oh, the glare on the glasses is awful. Ryan's liking not having to wear earbuds for TV with me out there, so that's why I'm stuck back here. Hey, Gwen. Yes, while it's fresh on your mind. Exactly. Hey, Lisa Colovi. Hey, Blue. Hope you guys are doing well. And morning, Ryan was yawning and it made me yawn. So sitting down was not a good idea before this. Ha! You did remember it was Friday, Lisa Colovi. You had to remind me to set up my live. Geez. I was going to do it and then we got tied up. But I'll tell you, like, everything today was like, it wasn't a bad day at all. But it's like everything needed something else, if that makes sense, you know? So our grass is dead, dead. There's no rain. Our grass is dead. There's nowhere to graze the pigs. So I've got the boys down in the back. Um, that's right, Lisa. That's exactly what counts. Hey, blue collar homestead. Oh no, that is rude, Blue. Um, so the grass is dead. There's no rain. I can't remember when we had measurable rain. Um, I know in May we had that hail with rain, and then we had another one after that. But other than that, it's been like sprinkles, and or it misses us. So the grazing is done for the season because everything's overgrazed. It's a dust bowl. It's hot. Um, so long story short, we had to go get hay for the pigs so we could feed them hay, and so we go to get hay this morning and 2 acres of land, things are going to get in the way of grazing, right? So we literally just put the electric fences around the trailer. Well, of course, Grant decided to use the rear tail light as a scratching post and he broke it. So Ryan had to fix that before he went and got hay. And then we go down, we got hay. Thankfully, it's an 800-pound bale. It'll last us till we get our winter hay and then some. Um, and so we got that, which was wonderful, wonderful. um, hey Jen, Northern Girl Hobbies, good to see you. Hey Peterson Farms in Nashville. Yeah, I talk to myself. I know. It's when I argue is when you have to worry. So then we what do you call it? We get the hay, we get back, we get it all taken care of, and it's hot. And did a few other things that we needed. Um, and fast forward to, afternoon, the gardens had to get watered. That takes 2 hours or more. And get that done because that's a daily thing. um, and so then I said to Ryan, I said, we're just gonna get a pizza because it's just too hot to cook, right? And I'm done from all the stuff we're doing during the day. And so he comes and helps me feed, do chores because I usually do them myself, and he helps me do chores, and we take care of everybody at the top, and we go down in the back to feed the boys. And I go to put the bucket down on my side of the electric net fencing, and Grant walks up to it, smells it, snorts at me, and walks right across it, knocks it over. So then we had to walk the fence line, figure out why that was shorting out, why that wasn't running. Just one of those days. So not a bad day, just one of those days. But thankfully it's all working. We got everybody all set. And the pigs are super happy to have hay. So that worked out really great. We were able to find an alfalfa mixed grass bale. So that's really great. Thank you, Lisa Clovey, for all you do, and I appreciate you very much. Um, So yeah, so I did want to talk a little bit about emergency preparedness tonight, because the last time we talked about preparedness, a lot of people were really, really engaged in the conversation, and you had some really good feedback. And I know Gwen at Cowgirl Homestead just went through Hurricane Beryl. A lot of people in Texas went through Beryl. A lot of people in other states went through Beryl, depending on where you live. I think it's important to talk about, because, especially if you're in a place that gets hurricanes and things like that, sometimes water can be contaminated and you can't use it. Um, and the reality of it is there's some people still without power right now, and it's brutally hot, and they've got damages and so on. It's a lot, right? So all that stuff that I talked about was piddly stuff, nothing. But that can be life altering and life changing, especially if, think about this, you have all your preps in your home and something happens to your home. Hey, Craig, hope you and Debbie are doing well. I mean, that's something to think about, right? Because we think about, well, I've got everything, I'm prepared, it's in my home, but what if something happens to your home? I mean, we can't, usually predict these things, right? You may know what's prone to your area, but you definitely can't predict it, and they're hit or miss. Exactly. Tornadoes, what usually comes for your area. Absolutely. Absolutely. So just something to think about. Hey, Nancy, our treasured home. Most city town water is gone without power, so having water on hand for at least 2 weeks that's drinkable water is a must. Absolutely. And what about your critters? You know, one of the things I worry about is when we don't have power is, I try to have water on hand for them. I do that in the winter, and I do it by filling bathtubs and all that stuff. Oh, no worry, Holman's Homestead. Thanks for trying. Um, but that's the thing. I mean, we have a creek down behind us. It's dry now. It's not running. So we can't do anything about it. If it ran all the time like a river, I would totally have a pump and pump out of there. It is so important. Water is really important. And that's the thing, and in those hot temps, like in Texas, I mean, you need water. Water is life. So tell me, what are some of the things that you do to prepare when you're hearing like severe weather is coming or something like that? I'm just curious. What are some of the things you do to prepare? Exactly. No life without water. Absolutely. We fill buckets up. We fill the tub up, and it's real important. It's really important, because we have a well, we have a generator, but you know the generator is going to run something else, not the well, unless we were desperate. We try to haul water from town, and then we have another place we haul from. But again, without power, you're not getting any. The pump's not working. Oh, good for you guys, Craig. Yeah, it's probably worth it. It's worth it. We've been considering our own as well, just waiting for a few things to get in place. But eventually we will drill our own, is our plan. Um, and we'll still practice what we're doing now just because, I mean, Craig, when was the last time we even had rain, like measurable rain? You're probably better at that than I am. It's been a while. Everything is just dying. Um, and so with the heat and everything, I mean, so what are some of the things you do to prepare your homestead, and also whatchamacallit? I was just looking at a comment and oh, Craig said 2 weeks. Huh. It's been longer than that for us. We got like It was like 10 drops. It felt like it's crazy. Um, I'm thinking the other place might be going dry, hard to get water today. Oh no. That's awful. God, I hope not. I like that water. That's what I'm watering my garden and my animals with right now. Um, we don't and can't have a well, but we have water barrels attached to our gutters, which is as good as we can get right now. Yeah, absolutely. And at least you have rain coming, Blue, where you can collect water. That's really good. We hooked up a second barrel, a second IBC tote for water because the garden is going through like 250 gallons a day. It's crazy. Just trying to water it deep so it stays well. And the plants are thriving, so that's really good. We normally don't have to worry about water because we put the welding machine on the water well and it pumps. But this time the welding machine wouldn't run, could not get it to run. Yeah. Borrowed one from a neighbor, so we got water on day 2. Yep. We only have rain now. I'd swap it if I could on. I know, Blue. I know. And that's the thing. It's like, could we find a little balance? Could we find a little balance? Poor Blue is over in the UK and they're just all they're getting is rain. Just rain, 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 nonstop. It's just crazy. And Gwen in Southeast Texas, she had millions of inches, it felt like, to the point where her garden was drowning, and then ended up getting Beryl. I know Barb's Country Home, she posted she's still without power. And they're dealing with some hot weather. So it's really hard to deal with all that kind of stuff. I have to go get water tomorrow, Craig. I wonder how that'll go. Neighbor drilled 125 feet with 12 gallons a minute. So that was encouraging. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's awesome. Yeah, some yin and yang, please. I washed all the dirty clothes in the house beforehand, 66 hours without power, and I had 3 loads to do, and it was all said and done working outside in the rain using towels. Yeah, it's true. It's true. I try to do all that stuff before something hits because then it's like one less thing to think about. We have about 600 gallons of water, 2 generators, a pond for the garden, and animals covered for everything but a direct hit from a tornado. Yeah, that's something you can't predict. That's something you can't predict. And that's really hard about tornadoes. They are hit or miss. And the path they leave is just so scary. No worries, Blue. No worries, Blue. We had propane bottles filled to cook with, grilled nearly everything outside. Smart. Smart. Yeah, we do stuff like that. We make sure we have a way to cook, a way to heat water if needed. We do have generators that are full, and we always switch it out right before something really threatening comes in case we need it. Make sure that they're running and all that kind of thing. And obviously, if emergency was coming, I wouldn't worry about my gardens. I wouldn't. I'd have to let them go. I'd worry about the critters and ourselves. That's the big thing. We used to have access to another location where we could get water. We don't have that anymore. So filled up all the gas cans we owned beforehand for generators and filled them back up as they emptied. Because as time goes on, people south of us come north to buy up all the gas. Absolutely. The times get desperate, right? Absolutely. I think a lot of us are really good about having food on hand, right? And hey, Joy, no worries. Hope you're feeling better. Yeah, I saw you post that. Take care of yourself. Our little local store has a generator that will pull the whole store. That's really cool. That's really cool. That's really great. I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, you have to be prepared and have all this stuff ready and on hand, and granted, we can only do so much sometimes, but we do make sure that we have the gas as well, make sure that we have water, we set out buckets and things like that. So what are some other things that you guys do to prepare for like when storms are coming by to keep things prepared? And it doesn't have to be for animals, it could be just for you and your family, right? Because that's a reality. One of the things that we do is we always have a lot of ice on hand, and because ice will melt, and so we'll have water. I don't buy it, I just have a lot of ice. So that way animals can lick it. I can add a little bit of water to encourage it to melt. Um, but it's something. It's something. Radio communications, that's a good answer. I like that. Very smart. Very smart. I don't think we have anything. Well, we have two-way radios for us. That's it. First aid kits, that's another one. Oh, Ryan has 4 million first aid kits, but the key is going through them and making sure that the stuff is not completely expired, right? It's okay if it's expired because it's still good. You can use it, it's just not as potent, but always make sure that you're going through those first aid kits. I have a small emergency charger battery for my phone. It came in handy. Oh, absolutely. I used to have one of those. Now I have one that is actually a solar one that I won from a giveaway, which is really cool. We have a lot of solar powered lights too, to be able to do what we need to do if we're out there. Hey, Annette at the Cow Emporium. How are you? Hey, Canadian Family Life. Hope you're doing well, Tiffany. The Cow Emporium is putting up hay, y'all. They're putting up hay. It's a beautiful sight. They have not put up hay since I think 2021. So, or yeah, 21. This is huge. They need hay to survive for their cattle. Hey! Oh, God. Every time she posts about it on Instagram or Facebook, I'm like, yes, big score. That's a good that's a good point, Gwen. Extension cords. You need extension cords out the wazoo to run the fridges, freezes, etc. So the good news is we have 4 million extension cords. Why? Because we have to run them in the summer to run fencing. We have to run them in the winter to run like right now we're running electric fences. Um and one of them is through a hardwired setup. The other one is a solar. The one that Grant went through tonight was a solar because it shorted out. So, um, yeah. So I'm just glad that we got it all fixed up. But extension cords are super important. And you have to have extension cords that can handle the load of what you're doing. We like the ones that are heavy duty, more than we need, even. They're heavy duty and they lock together, and we like that they lock together because we don't have to worry about it. We don't want it to back out a little and then start a fire. We try to hang it up somewhere. The other thing is we also have ones that have lights on them in the wintertime. And so we like the lights on them because when it's super freaking cold outside, at a notice, we can see that there's power getting to the waters. You still have to go outside and look, but we can see there's power going to it. As long as the heater is working, the power's on, you're good. Hey, Blue, welcome back. basic. Oh, there's Lisa Colovi. The problem with first aid kits when it comes to expiring dates, the years seem to fly by. They do, and a lot of it you can use. It may not be as effective, which is the reality. It depends on what it is, though. Trying to set up some basic solar for charging stuff, that's really good. I'd love one of those solar generators. I really would love one of those. Like the Blue Eddy. As much as I enjoy being off grid on purpose, being fully prepped is lacking in our world, but we feel we are better prepped than most. Absolutely. You guys are really good at what you do. Coffee is life. Absolutely. Oh, you're so sweet, Annette. We did miss Lisa Colovi last week. We didn't miss the obnoxious person who was in here, though, did we? Did we? Extension cords, absolutely. I gotta take a drink. I got the big honkin' jug. We are building up our portable solar as much as we can. Absolutely. So now, if you're new or you aren't familiar with Blue Self Reliance, her and her husband are in the UK, and the cost of living and the cost of electricity, and Blue, correct me if I'm wrong, is astronomical. And so they try to do a lot of solar things like solar dehydrating and all that during the day to save the money on their electric bill, which is really cool. We love our solar system. That's great. We have a small Patriot solar generator. It's a good start one for small needs. Cool, Joy. Thank you. The ones we have are all gas right now. We have lots of fuel storage, but never enough, and it does have a shelf life if not maintained. Absolutely. Absolutely. Good morning, Annie, our urban homestead. Welcome. Yeah, solar's cool. The only thing that I have not been thrilled about is my solar fence charger, and it's in full sun. However, the new one that we have is much better. We bought one, both of our fence chargers, the one that's plugged in and the solar one, are rated for miles and miles of fencing. We did that on purpose so we could have one place to connect. And so it makes life a lot easier. So we have the solar one that goes around the perimeter of the girls' pen. And then it goes towards the back of the boys' pen because that's where Grant likes to escape when the grass in the spring is growing. And then we power off that to do the electric fencing in the back where we cut all the trees. Then we have another one that goes down and alongside where the little boys are, which is the outer perimeter, because Hank and Waylon, well, Hank mainly, was trying to give Grant a hard time, and lots of pig showing off, pushing on the fence. So we put the line back up. But now he can't see Grant, so it works out perfect. British Gas just tried to charge us $1,500 for last month's gas and electric. We called them up and gave the belligerent little scrote on the end of the phone a bad day. We were nice until he wasn't. Absolutely. That's just ridiculous. Yeah, boys will be boys. Definitely hierarchy stuff. I make sure we use aviation fuel and seafoam for our backup gas generators. Makes a big difference over time. We also cycle the generators every 2 weeks. Yep, I have. Gwen actually talked to me about that. Absolutely, that's smart. Our average monthly payment is 120 combined. 120 pounds. Jeez. Wow. Most of that is a standing charge. It's crazy. There's so many charges for all that stuff now. It's just insane. It really is. Are there any other things or suggestions you would give to people who are looking for ways to prep themselves? I'm kind of curious because I want this to come from you guys. I mean, I'm learning too. I'm doing pretty good with the yawning, I'd like to point out, even though Ryan got me started. Blue said, "You know, I'm doing a series on this, right?" LOL. Yes, I do know. I love it. This just popped into my head because I got thinking about the people dealing with Beryl, and I mean, in New York, they had tornadoes that respond from the remnants of Beryl, which is just, oh, it's just hard stuff to deal with. I know it is, Lisa. I know. And I am just so guilty of when I finally sit down at the end of the day, I start. In fact, there we go. Sorry, folks. But yeah, so I was just like, well, so what other things you guys have going on? What do you guys have planned for this weekend? I can tell you right now it's going to be hot. Um, I don't do well in the heat. Thankfully, it's like I want to say only 90, 91. Um, but I do not like heat. So, but I will put up with it because it doesn't last long. And the cool part is um we were able to get hay. That was the big part. I watched Sheepishly Me video today. They got a lot of rain there from Beryl. Wow. Makes sense. Start now with what you can afford and accumulate steadily over time. Absolutely. Oh, wait a minute. Blue said we're having flooding over here. It's utterly bonkers, if not only affects general population, but food is rotting in the fields. I hate that. Gosh, I hate that. Make sure batteries are in flashlights. We had crazy winds here in New York from Daryl. Yep. Smart. I like having food stored in a variety of ways and as much in the flavor department as possible, like herbs. That's really cool. Smart. There's so many things we use on a regular basis, and it is amazing what you can go without, but it's also amazing what you cannot go without. Don't break the bank doing anything. Take stock of what you already have and look at what you may need and go from there. Absolutely, because a lot of us have stuff. We just may not know where it is. Look around, see what you got first before you do. Good idea. Yeah, smart idea. Pool. I bet you're dealing with the heat. A pool would be great. Gwen said, I'm still recovering from Beryl. There's still cleanup to do outside. I'm just not worried about it. No, if it's not hurting anything and it's not on something that's imminent, no, of course not. Of course not. I can I can tell you right now when Ryan and I were cutting down all those trees and we woke up to the two trees that fell on the pig fence in the snow. I will tell you, we knew what the right thing to do was, but we sat there for a minute and thought maybe we won't deal with it. But yeah, we had to go do it. But man, we were just so tired of cutting trees. Way too many trees. Hey! Hey is exciting. It's exciting. I'm adjusting to our heat and humidity fast. 98 degrees and 90% humidity. Today we are a bit cooler. Oh my word. Oh, I'm glad you're adjusting to it. It's brutal, you know. Gosh, the pigs are walking around here and, I'm driving around with the buggy and we're doing all different things and I've got dust all the way up to my thighs. The pigs are walking around, clouds of dust are flying in my face. I'm like, this is, ugh. But I love it. I wouldn't change it for the world. Hey, LSA ambassador, welcome in. We are constructing a 30 by 60 pad for a new greenhouse next year, thinking of the future. That is amazing. That will be absolutely amazing. Are you thinking like high tunnel? I'm assuming. Or are you actually going to go with an actual greenhouse? I joke with Ryan and I tell him that, and well, Craig's familiar with our house, but like right as you pull in the driveway, right in the front lawn, I want to put a high tunnel. He's like, you won't be able to see anything except the high tunnel. I said, yeah, I know, and it'll have food in it. Let me tell you this though, the back garden, the overflow garden, which was an experiment because I said, oh, I have too many plants. The plants are huge and they look fabulous in there. And the shade cloth, which I put up for hail, is really serving a purpose in keeping them cooler. I have Brussels sprouts, broccoli, all that kind of thing. And they are growing like none other. And I'm so excited. If I get a cabbage harvest, y'all are going to hear me screaming that I got one. So we'll see how this goes this year. Try and have wind. Ooh, try and have wind backups for radios and torches, flashlights, batteries aren't incredibly reliable. True. Smart, 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 smart. And organize what you have so you don't look for things needed when needed. Yeah, absolutely. Bye, Blue. Have a good day. Yes, Lisa, believe it or not, Ryan is tired of cutting trees. I think because he's getting older. However, yesterday he was standing around looking at things, and I said, what are you doing? Because I recognize the look. And he said, I'm thinking about trees that I could drop. And I said, why? He goes, because we can get more sun to the garden. And I said, can you do it without hitting a building? And he says, I'm not quite sure. That's why I'm out here looking. So we'll see. Thinking of an actual greenhouse, that's really exciting. There is apparently something you can put on greenhouses to add a layer of protection from hail. It's like a coating or something. I don't know. The greenhouses I have are not worth doing all that to. Um, but yeah, just because that's going to be an investment, and I think that's really cool. But you probably already knew that, Craig, because you're a smart guy. And move all the totes there as well. Oh, that would be so cool. That would be really cool. Craig said they're growing like crazy. That's awesome. Thanks, Annette. I'm excited. There's something eating. So here's the deal. Ryan, I've got a hose and a pump. And once I get that pump going, like I'm all over the property, water in the gardens. So um Ryan usually closes the garden gate for me after we plug the pump in. Well, he's forgotten to do it a couple times, and the chickens got in there and ate some broccoli. They ate the leaves. I mean, they're in there 2 minutes and they've already got it devoured. But I did notice in the back that something else is eating the cabbage, and I sprayed them tonight, and we'll see how it goes. I could not find BT, believe it or not. I looked in Walmart. I looked in Fleet Farm. And so I got something else locally that said it would do things like cabbage worms. So, but it's like not heavy pesticide. But I want my cabbage. The look, that always means more work. Exactly. No kidding. Well, I think it's cool, but at the same time, I want more sun to the garden, but however, we have the house garden that does grow well what we put there. We just know to put other stuff somewhere else in the back, right? Because if he takes down more trees, it's a lot hotter here now than it was. And we knew that, and it's getting louder because of the traffic in the summer. So I'm kind of like, maybe we should just leave it the way it is. I don't know. We'll see. It wouldn't be a hot weather project, I can tell you that right now, after we did so many of them. And then I locked myself in the goat barn about 30 minutes before Lisa's live. I know. Gwen, you've got to fix that door. Yeah, she texted me laughing. But yeah, so I don't know, something's eating my stuff, but everything else is looking good. Our potatoes that are in the back garden, I've never seen our potatoes grow well. Oh, thanks, Craig. I appreciate that. I will let you know, definitely. So Ryan and I have a garden deal. Now, we've worked this out. He's the weeder and the bug looker and picker. And I am doing everything else. He's only found one green worm on the cabbage by the house. That's it. He's looked everything over. And I told him it was getting hot. We're going to have to look again. But I don't know. I don't know. It is a good deal. It is a good deal. He was the gardener, and then he kind of got frustrated and gave up, and I was like, "Well, we're growing here. I'm going to figure it out." And he calls it channeling my inner Bobo, because Bob was my father, and he had quite the garden, and so it was really funny. And he said, "Do not put down weed cloth." He said, "I'm not dealing with it," and I said, "You're not dealing with it." I said, "Are you going to weed?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Fine, no weed cloth." So he's been taking care of it. So I think it's a great deal. He's up early in the morning and he goes out and he just kind of hose it out. It's not perfect, but it's great. But the other thing is there's not a lot of weeds because we ain't had no rain. I picked about 3 pounds of cherry tomatoes today, dropped about 4 pounds because of the 7 inches of rain. Most of them were split. I'm ready to rip them out so I can dig taters. Oh, sorry about that. That's hard. Oh, I would bet you don't, Annette. I mean, you're like sun all day long, pretty intense heat too, and dryness too is a factor. Um, and I made a deal that I wouldn't spend any more money on the garden too after the hail netting. So, trying to be good about that. But the only place I do want to put weed cloth is the back garden because they're straight rows, whereas they're not straight rows back here. But I pulled it up. I still have the pieces that I cut, but I just I don't know. I'm trying to think. Next year, I want to revamp things. Hey, Teresa, welcome. Hey, Xander, welcome, Dark Lord Minute. Good to see you guys. Debbie is in her happy world with all the strawberries she is picking. I bet she is. Oh, I'm so bummed I lost mine, but I'm so happy she's getting them. I think we figured out what happened to ours. It was our fault. The stock tank was set up to be a pool, and it has a drain spout. And I think the drain spout was closed all winter. And I think it held more water than we thought, even though we had a mild winter and not a lot of snow. With it composting and with the manure in there and everything, I think there was more liquid than we thought, and they froze. So that's what I think happened. Does it rot or just stuff grows through at the cow emporium? I know for me, I didn't like seeing mold on the soil, like green mold. I know there's some beneficial mold. I don't think green mold is it? Does anybody know? 3 to 4 pints every other day. Wow. That's amazing. Did she get her plants at Jolly Lane? I'm kind of curious because when I got the ones at Jolly Lane, they were amazing. Welcome to Nevada, the state of weeds. State plant is a sagebush, a weed. Yeah. Weeds grow right through it, and it seems to be a safe haven for ants. Ants have killed so many of our trees we use the cloth around. Yeah, I found ants to be a problem too. The other thing is I thought it would hold moisture, but I found it trickier to keep the soil moist. Good night, Teresa. Thanks for coming. Like, you have the hole and you have to stand there and let it soak in for a while. Whereas when I don't have it on, I can soak the whole garden. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I know Rich at Old Sweets Farm said something about, I had that auction video. He said something about most cloths are not UV or something. But I don't think that would make a difference with ants. Yes, on JL. Yeah, that's what I thought. Their plants are just amazing. Absolutely amazing. Thanks, Lisa Clovey. I threw DE and cayenne on the ant problem that I had, and it seemed to get rid of them. We use about 4 to 5 inches of mulch for water retention. Smart. You really want to get rid of weeds, pull them often and soon enough you won't have any more. Unless you put soaker hoses under the weed cloth. Rich's cloth is a heavy plastic. That's what I was thinking. Like if it rains and it doesn't rain a lot, like I want it to have a broader area to soak it up. I don't know. I do know that Craig has truly inspired us to add more water tanks. And so we have 2 IBC totes now that will collect water from the gutters better than we were before. Now we just need rain. But yeah, the layer of mulch also helps with the weeds. Yep. Yeah, you do have to soak it. Craig has what are the name? Self-watering containers. They soak up from the bottom. So it's really handy. Normally on top of the weeds and grass last year during the summer, 4 months of 100+ degrees, I wasn't. This year it was 34 inches of rain over 10 days that kept me from even attempting. Absolutely. And now it's hot. I'm not killing myself in the garden. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we're watering every day. I mean, it's not bad. We're just watering every day. And then when it's hot like this, we're watering pigs. Eleanor has the 2 piglets. That's it, a wicking tote, Craig. A wicking tote. What are the name? Self-watering containers. They soak up from the bottom. So it's really handy. Normally on top of the weeds and grass last year during the summer, 4 months of 100+ degrees, I wasn't. This year it was 34 inches of rain over 10 days that kept me from even attempting. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we're watering every day. I mean, it's not bad. We're just watering every day. And then when it's hot like this, we're watering pigs. Eleanor has the 2 piglets. That's it, a wicking tote, Craig. A wicking tote. But Eleanor has the 2 babies, and they're 2 weeks old now. So they're still in the range of potential struggle with their temperature regulation. So they don't need a heat lamp because we've been hot enough. And then they lay with mama because they're bigger. But I don't want to get them wet. Plus, we can't have a pool with them because they can drown. Only water every 7 days. That's awesome. Yeah. And I think that works out really well for your situation, Craig. That's awesome. I've been doing it every day, but I'm here. I mean, I got to do something. And I'm here to water pigs too. So, but I'm really excited because things are looking good this year. Tomatoes are still a little, we had that one early one on July 3rd, and now they're forming like crazy, but they're taking a little while to turn. But it's kind of hot now, so I get that. They're going to slow down a little. They're not going to turn in the heat because I think it's lycopene doesn't get produced in the plant when it's that hot. Um, but they're doing well. But yeah. Yeah, well the piglets don't need it. It's the mama who needs it. I don't want to get the piglets wet. The So what I end up doing is Eleanor comes out of her barn because she sees me coming with the hose, and I hose her down. And the piglets are usually sleeping in the barn. They're still kind of small though, compared to usual litters, so they're just taking their time. But I will say the little one has gotten a lot bigger than it was, so that's good. They're growing great. I do deep water, Annette. Usually I've gotten to the point where I don't even use a spray nozzle when I deep water. I put my, finger over the edge of the hose, or I lay it down and let it run to deep water it. It will take it. Once it's wet, it'll start to soak in better. When you first go to do it, it's like dust. Because I know you probably saw where I did that in the pasture with the hose. It does that when you first do it, but when it finally soaks, then it's good. And I think that's why, like, when we get a light rain, it's a waste of time, it feels like. It doesn't soak in. Hey, Grace and Fire. Welcome, Glenda. But it seems to do well. The plants have not wilted one bit this year. In past years, I've seen them wilt in 24 hours just because no matter how much you water, it dries up with the low humidity. But this year they're doing really well. But I've been faithfully watering daily. Absolutely. But they're holding up pretty good. I will be thrilled when the potatoes are out of the back because they're shading out a row of cabbage because I like to pack things in the garden. But the way I figure it, when the potatoes come out, then those cabbages will take off and the other ones may be gone. So maybe we'll actually get a little unintentional succession planning. So we'll see how that goes. I got a tomato plant that's being a brat. It's wilting most of the day, but it's perked up in the morning when it's cool. Yeah, well, you get some really hot temps. So it's probably enjoying the cool weather. My greenhouse tomatoes need to be pruned again. We just pruned them and they need to be pruned again after. I'm going to wait until after this heat. But I can't even, it's hard to get in the greenhouses now because I pack them full. You noticing a theme here? I pack them full. Congratulations, Xander. That's awesome. It rained. That's exciting. That's exciting. Whoever sent the rain, thank you. I wish I knew, but the main thing is you got it. That's what matters. And you probably got nice rain or a good rain versus what the folks in Texas are dealing with. I saw a guy on Instagram who's dealing with one of his pastures, and he showed the 4-foot fence, and the water is over the 4-foot fence. That's just sad. My tomatoes are just now starting to ripen. It's a slow year for us. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's weird. We had that one early one, and I was so excited. We had another one next to it. The one next to it still hasn't turned. It a very tiny bit, but they're growing like crazy. They're just, I guess I'm shocked because we got that early one. I was hoping for an earlier haul, but I don't care as long as it's a lot big haul. I'm waiting. My problem is waiting. I pulled out some garlic the other day thinking I was at the right point, but I was totally wrong. It was not ready. So my garlic is still sitting in the ground, waiting for my garlic to turn and die. Here, when it floods, water gets over the 5-foot fences. That's crazy. I'm hearing thunder. I don't think it's raining out, but I'm hearing thunder. Just want to look real quick. Oh, we may get a storm tonight. Craig, we may get a storm. Hopefully we get it and it actually rains pretty heavy. Like 5 minutes of heavy rain would make me a happy woman. Yeah, flooding is just so devastating. It's just crazy. So crazy. Oh, thanks, Xander. I hope so too. You know, Xander, when I had my water that we were hauling, and like after a few days, it would start to turn, you know what I mean? And it's time to clean it out, clean the tank, and fill it up, right? And I would be down there watering the pigs, right? Giving people water, hosing them off because it was warm. And I'd be out there watering the pasture. And, for a while there, I was making headway. Like I do little sections each night. I know it's crazy, but I was trying to use up the water so we could get more. Um, plus small land. I mean, I got to have grazing area for my pigs. And so I just would sit there and do some water and do some watering, and it was looking great. It was starting to look so good. And then it was a losing battle. So it's just so sad. So sad. But I'm just thankful we have hay because it's an 800-pound bale. If we were feeding it year round, 2 of them would be all we would need. So we'll get another one in the fall and we'll be good. So the pigs were really happy to have it. I took 2 vacations to Tennessee, so I pulled my garlic just before I left. If I had waited, I would have split all my bulbs. I caught it just in time. Good. Glad you caught it. Yeah, I just stupidly pulled mine because I get impatient. Because it's like we start everything so early, and then it's like, could we harvest something already? I got parts of the grass I might as well get sod because even new seed isn't working. Yeah. I wonder if you look for like drought resistant grasses that grow for your area, because that's one of the things I'm going to look at is pasture seed that has native grasses in it. Oh, and Annette, the lady who sold me the hay actually misspoke. It was alfalfa and mixed grass. So totally excited that it is alfalfa, and they have plenty more. And I saw where it was, and they have it nice and undercover, not like one place that I've bought hay before that was moldy. So I'm really excited. It's really good, and the pigs dug into it. Fiona loves hay. Eleanor is not like some of them, they all have their different personalities. Fiona gets in that hay and grabs a bite and it's all out of her mouth and she's shaking her head and oh, she's all happy. Tail's wagging. They aren't allowed to sell any other in our area, and if they are, I guess he's getting a letter from a lawyer. Yeah, I totally get it. Yeah, I'm thrilled. That hay is a deal too. And it's 800 pounds and gosh, it was 133. So if I add up bales to get that, it would have been like 365, I think, the small bales. So it's definitely a lot better of a deal to get the large because we can't deal with a round bale. You see us rolling a round bale off the truck and it rolled down the hill. So the big square bales are just easier for us to handle. Remember when I was in Japan last summer? Yes, and Glenn pulled all your garlic early. I was so upset. I'm real excited. It's good stuff. Plus, it gives us less to worry about in the fall. It gives us some time to start looking, so that'll be good. Well, guys, I hear thunder, and I'm just kind of curious. I'm kind of curious to see what's going on, so I'm going to check it out. Glenn asked where you're storing your bale. I thought the trailer. It is on the trailer, and we have it covered in a tarp. And then what I do is I check it. If we get rain, I will check it to make sure that there's no wetness underneath. And then what we can do is we can, as it gets smaller, we will move it into the livestock trailer that we have, which is like a 2-horse trailer. It's just a lot when it's a full bale. So, and I sacrificed the hay frame for hail netting for my garden. So we'll take it from there. So yeah, I'm going to store it on the trailer. That's why I left it there. I've got the tarp folded where it should run off. I know it's not foolproof, but I'm hoping. Have a good night, Joy. I hope you feel better. I'm hearing lots of boom, and this is pretty exciting. Hopefully, we get some rain. All right, guys. Well, I really appreciate you all being here. Thanks for talking about preparedness with me in the earlier part of this. I know that all your suggestions are going to be so helpful for people watching this. And I really appreciate you guys. So have a safe weekend. If you don't have power yet, I hope you get it back on. Stay safe, all that stuff. We do care. Thanks so much. Bye, y'all.